Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. With inflation, the cost of living, and gas prices all on the rise, so too are the costs of services offered in the DeWitt County Sheriff's Office. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, DeWitt County Board Chair Joe Whitty told Regional Radio at last week's County Board meeting a motion to increase the cost of services like eviction, standby, and fingerprint was passed. The decision comes on the heels of a recent cost study done on the Sheriff's Office.
Periodically, we'll have to look at the fees that we choose or we charge for various services. Public safety had two different studies done recently. One was more for animal control. What we covered last week at the board meeting was the results of the cost study that was done for the sheriff's office. We are not allowed to just charge any fee that we want, for services that the sheriff's office charges or that they provide. We have to engage a third party to kind of do a cost study. So we engaged Bellwether. That's a little investment to get that study done. I think the last time we did it was maybe almost a decade ago. Yeah. So the fees are kind of at that point, that level, until you have another cost study done that can justify based on what your actual expenses are to provide those services, until you can justify an increase or, if fees need to stay the same. So Sheriff Walker did request that we do that cost study for, the various services that they provide. And they got those results back, about a month ago. That gave time for Sheriff Walker to kind of go through and make some recommendations, and he brought those to public safety.
What Whitty emphasizes, the increases are not coming without need. While it's important to keep public services reasonably priced, the county also must keep costs up to date so services can be funded.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there were a few fees that we did increase or will be increasing. I don't know if the effective date was going to be the beginning of this coming month, but yeah, it's not to charge more and make more money. It's to find a cost that is comparable to cover the, as best we can, the expenses that, we're seeing realized for providing those services. We can't raise those certain fees unless you have that justified by a cost study. So when you think 10 years ago, or I think it was maybe 2011, 2012, when we last raised some of these fees, gas prices necessarily weren't what they are now. Labor has gone up. So the county sees increasing expenses for, just providing some of these services. And at some point you start to realize that maybe what we're charging is not in line with what we're spending. Does it make sense to potentially raise those fees, or do you just continue to charge what we charge, starting back in, a decade or so ago? And eventually you're going to see that deviate enough. It was about $10,000 to do a study. So you don't want to just do this every year. You just don't, it doesn't make sense. The thought is you spend the money to do this study. You don't necessarily have to increase all your fees. And we didn't increase the fees across the board to what was necessarily, what we could charge. But there were several that, were obviously falling behind where we should be charging a little bit more to basically offset what we're spending.
A cost study was also done on DeWitt County animal control recently. Whitty notes this was done to see where spending could be reduced on the county side.
We're ahead. Animal control did do a cost study around the same time. They did get their results back. But I think, as you know, from public safety, they're wanting to get a better handle on some of where their receipts are coming in. They're going to need a little bit more time before they come forward with any recommendation, if they do at all. Not everything is intended to be a profit center. Right? Nothing really is. There's got to be certain things in the county where you have to provide a service, and it's going to cost more than what we can bring in. And you can't charge fees necessarily of the public to cover 100% of your expenses related to something like animal control. The intent there was, are we charging a fair fee, even though it's not going to cover all the expenses that we have at an animal control? So that they need a little bit more time to look at over those results, get a better handle on, what we're taking in. As you know, Grace has taken over animal control recently and is still trying to get a good handle on the paperwork side of things. And then maybe in the near future, we might have some recommendations. But, again, if we were to charge what it costs us at the animal control, we're not going to have 100% compliance, right? People are just going to turn animals loose instead of turning them over to animal control or relinquishing.
Whitty also points out that if costs were not increased for the Sheriff's Department services, it would come at the cost of taxpayers. This would increase the amount paid by citizens who are potentially not using those extra services. Severe weather has pounded central Illinois over the last few months, and on the WHOW morning show Monday, Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln told regional radio the severe weather predicted for the late hours of Monday night. As it moves off, things are looking up.
Yeah, we have a severe weather outlook here for tonight, late tonight. There's a pretty strong frontal system, low pressure, a lot of wind. Storms that come in probably at about 3 to 4 in the morning are going to possibly pack a punch, a little bit of damaging winds, large hail. The tornado threat is a little bit lower at 3 or 4 in the morning, but still not zero. After we get this storm system out of the way, it looks like we're going to be decent the rest of this week. And then, starting May, by the end of the week, we're into May. So temperatures will be above normal through that whole time. It doesn't look like really, we average around 69 for a high by the end of the month here. So I don't see any highs below that, although Friday, 68, but really, upper 60s and 70s for the rest of the week. A little bit of rain coming with that Thursday night, Friday system. And it looks like a rainy Wednesday too. So I know we're in the outlook for a little bit of excessive rainfall outlook for Wednesday into Thursday. But beyond that, then we should have some dry weather for the weekend. Really nice, warming up by Sunday and up, mid 70s or so. And that's going to continue actually in the outlooks through the first week of May, above normal temps, a little bit above normal precip in there in the first week of May. But then the middle of the month of May, actually, we're trending towards above normal temperatures through the whole month, but then equal chances of above or below normal precip beyond that. So looks like we'll dry out a little bit.
The uptick in severe weather has been due to a slow-moving jet stream, which is allowing storms to sit right on top of central Illinois. Shimon indicates the tornado total has already surpassed the yearly average.
Yeah, we've been kind of right on the oscillation of the jet stream pattern. Has been almost directly over Illinois for pretty much every third day. It seems like we were like, oh, severe weather, oh, tornado, you got one. So when that jet stream is starting to transition from the winter time to the summertime, right in the middle of spring, we just got kind of in that lull of where the jet stream was in transition, and it has hit March 14th. Everything just opened up, and we've had severe weather on a regular basis since then. Pretty much, it's just a matter of that jet stream and how quickly it transitions. And this year, it slowed down a little bit, so it's right over us right now, and we're paying the price with severe weather. April and May are our biggest months of severe weather in general, so it's not unusual. But it started in mid-March, so maybe a little bit earlier, but still, it's been very active. We're already at, I think, 66 tornadoes in Illinois so far this year, 67, and we average every year, calendar year, 62. So we're already 5 above our normal annual number of tornadoes.
Shipman also notes we're ahead of pace for severe weather compared to last year. However, April's precipitation totals are sitting just below normal. We'll have more with Shipman on that throughout the week on regional radio. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Maroon Live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus, streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by Keith Wade, your country financial representative. Studio 505, and our exclusive sponsor for our Player of the Game, Surf Pro of Piatt DeWitt Counties, the leader in fire, water, and mold restoration.
Sale would be unlawful.
With SRN Sports, I'm Andrew Stewart. Winners in the NBA playoff games yesterday. Jimmy Butler converted 3 free throws with more than 58 seconds left. He grabbed the game-clinching rebound with 4 seconds to go, and then made 2 more free throws on his way to 27 points in his return from a pelvic injury. Butler helped his Golden State Warriors get by the Houston Rockets 109-106 in a heated Game 4. The Warriors now have a 3-1 lead in the first-round playoff series. Both teams return to Houston for Game 5 in the best-of-7 series this Wednesday night. Other winners in the NBA playoff games yesterday, Cleveland just shattered Miami 138-83. Winners in the NHL playoff games yesterday, Florida and Dallas. Winners in baseball yesterday in the National League, the Mets and the Dodgers. This is SRN Sports. An NFL team returning to its famed city.
The mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, announced the return of the Commanders football team
back to RFK where they belong.
Bowser also thanked the team's current owner, Josh Harris.
Thank you for not just buying our team, some would say saving our team.
The stadium will open in 2030 and cost the Commanders $2.7 billion.
That's correspondent Lisa Dwyer in Washington. Also in the NFL, President Trump hosted the 2025 Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at the White House yesterday, but several players, including quarterback Jalen Hurts, skipped the event. Hurts and other players cited scheduling conflicts as the reasons for their absences. And wide receiver Deontay Johnson agrees to a one-year deal with the Cleveland Browns. With sports, I'm Andrew Stewart.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Clinton started fast and did not look back in a 12-2 Central Illinois Conference win over Meridian on Monday from Macon. Colton Walker singled to start the game, stole second and advanced to third on a pass ball, then scored on a wild pitch before Josh Bass doubled. Ryan Pine and Mitchell Cornwell drew back-to-back walks, and Jaden Bell doubled, driving Pine and Cornwell in. John Smock was hit by a pitch, and Jackson Reynolds capped off the inning with a double, driving in both Bell and Smock to put the Maroons up 5-0 early. In the top of the sixth, the Maroons added three more. Pine doubled. Cole Fentress followed with a walk. Then Cornwell singled, advancing Fentress to third. A wild pitch allowed Fentress to score, and later in the inning, Smock singled, scoring Cornwell, and another wild pitch allowed Fentress to score. Fentress earned the win on the mound, pitching 4 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts. Bell fired 2 scoreless innings of relief with 4 strikeouts. Walker was 4 for 4 with 3 stolen bases. Cornwell was 1 for 2 with an RBI and a stolen base, while Pine stole 3 bases and had 2 hits. Jackson Reynolds and Bell drove in 2 runs apiece. Bass continued his hot hitting, finishing 1 for 3 with an RBI and a stolen base. Smock was 1 for 3 with an RBI, and Fentress scored 2 runs and had a stolen base. The Maroons improved to 9-10 overall and 4-3 in the Central Illinois Conference. They will host Tuscola on Wednesday afternoon. Hear the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. Monticello hit 4 home runs and powered past Pontiac 19-3 in Illini Prairie Conference high school baseball action from Pontiac on Monday. Eli Kraft was 3 for 3 with a homer, a double, and 4 RBIs for the Sages. Colton Vance homered, finishing 3 for 3 with a homer and 4 RBIs. Drake Weeks came off the bench to drive in 2. Eric Arnold had 2 hits and an RBI for Monticello. Ike Young drove in 2, and Cole Basak was 2 for 2 with a solo home run. Brian Wilchin had 3 RBIs. Russ Brown and Hayden Romano each had a hit and an RBI. The Sages go to 17-3 overall and 4-1 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. They will host Mount Zion this afternoon. Normal West made easy work of Peoria in a pair of shutout 10-run rule victories Monday in Big 12 Conference high school baseball action from Normal. The Wildcats set the tone for the day with a dominant 15-0 victory in the first game in 3 innings. A 6-run first, a 4-run second, and a 5-run third paced a balanced attack for Normal West. Chase Newth's double in the first drove in Brady Hart. Sean Jenkins fired a 3-inning shutout with 8 strikeouts. Chase Reinhardt was 2 for 2 with a double and 3 RBIs. Brady Hart was 2 for 2 while Newth was 2 for 2 with a double and 3 RBIs. Sean Jenkins hit a triple with a run batted in. The Wildcats ran away with a 19-0 win in just 2 innings in the second game. 12-run first set the tone. Chase Reinhardt scored Nolan Schultz. Ryder Kuhn scored Sean Jenkins. Sam McCulley scored Gage Flaherty, and Brady Pollitt scored Reagan Williams with hits. Flaherty also had a double in the inning. Reinhardt was 2 for 2 with a double and 2 RBIs. Kuhn was 2 for 3 with a double and 2 RBIs, while Williams was had 2 RBIs for Normal West. The Wildcats go to 15-8 overall and 9-3 in the Big 12. They're off until Friday when they host Danville in Big 12 conference play. Jacob Engel racked up 9 strikeouts across 5 no-hit innings as Normal Community defeated Peoria Richwoods 4-0 in Big 12 Conference High School Baseball from Normal Monday. Normal Community got the scoring started in the bottom of the first after Max Heineman singled. Gavin Michaels drove him in with a single to left, giving the Ironmen an early 1-0 lead. Nauer singled home Burkhardt, extending the lead to 2-0 in the third. Heineman delivered an RBI single, scoring Kyle Beatty and pushing the lead to 4-0 in the fifth. Heineman was 2 for 2 with an RBI, while Nauer was 2 for 3 with an RBI. Gavin Michaels had an RBI single. Normal Community is 15-4 overall and 10-1, in the Big 12. They travel to Peoria to take on Richwoods on Wednesday. Meridian hit 3 home runs and rolled to an easy 17-0 win over Clinton in Central Illinois Conference High School softball action on Monday in Macon. Riley Fentress drew a walk and was just one of 3 base runners for the Lady Maroons. Clinton committed 7 errors that led to 9 of the 17 runs allowed by Olivia Haynes to be unearned in circle. The Lady Maroons dropped to 4-10 overall and 0-4 in the Central Illinois Conference. They host Argenta-Oreana on Tuesday. Monticello faced a tough matchup against state-ranked Pontiac on Monday, falling 10-0 in Illini Prairie Conference High School softball action from Pontiac. The Lady Sages managed just 3 hits in the game, recorded by Sadie Walsh, Thea Key, and Cassidy Stoffel. Monticello falls to 16-5 overall and 5-1 in the Illini Prairie Conference. They host Urbana on Tuesday. Hear this afternoon's action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Blue Ridge doubled up Cerro Gordo Bement 8-4 in Lincoln Prairie Conference High School softball action from Cerro Gordo on Monday. The Lady Knights broke a 3-3 tie in the 6th inning. Ellie Schleeper drew a walk, followed by a single from Macy Wooling. A sac bunt by Presley Hardesty, coupled with an error by Cerro Gordo Bement, allowed Schleeper to score. The rally continued with a walk by Carson Steiger, followed by 3 consecutive singles from Addison Rose, Lily Anger, and Carly Fenton, each driving in a run and extending Blue Ridge's lead to 8-3. Rose was a perfect 4 for 4 at the plate, driving in a run. Anger added 2 hits and 2 RBIs, while Fenton chipped in with 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Schleeper went the distance in circle for Blue Ridge, earning the win after pitching a complete 7 innings. She allowed 4 runs, 1 was earned on 4 hits, while striking out 8 and walking just 1. The Lady Knights are 8-9 overall and 2-4 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. They'll host Okaw Valley on Thursday. Heyworth overwhelmed El Paso Gridley 16-6 and walked off on a run rule win Monday from Heyworth in Heart of Illinois High School softball action. Heyworth's offense exploded early, scoring an incredible 9 runs in the first inning. Emily Rogers' game-ending home run to left scored Emerson Becker and Haley Rogers, triggering the 10-run rule and securing the 16-6 win for Heyworth. Rogers was 4 for 4 with the walk-off homer, 2 doubles and 4 RBIs. Grace Streams was 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 stolen bases. Haley Rogers added a hit and an RBI. Natalie Kopp earned the win for Heyworth in circle, twirling 5 innings. The win was the first for the Lady Hornets in the Heart of Illinois Conference, improving to 1-6 while going to 7-10 overall. They host Tri-Valley on Wednesday. Argenta-Oreana shut out Oakland Tri-County 6-0 in Lincoln Prairie Conference High School softball action Monday in Shiloh. Elisa Armstrong twirled a complete game, allowing just 2 hits and 2 walks across 7 innings while striking out 9. Bryn Jones led the way for the Lady Bombers, finishing 3 for 3 with an RBI. Gracie Manning was 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Karma Giles was 2 for 4 with a double, while Sophia Wicklund drove in 2, going 2 for 4. Piper Jones added a double, finishing 1 for 3. The the Argenta-Oreana stays unbeaten in Lincoln Prairie Conference play, going to 7-0 in conference and 10-9 overall. They'll visit Clinton this afternoon. Tamira Blackburn Kelly twirled a complete game shutout, and St. Joe Ogden beat Maroa Forsyth Monday in non-conference high school softball action in St. Joseph. Blackburn Kelly allowed just 4 hits and struck out 4. The Lady Spartans scored a run in the second inning before adding 2 runs in both the third and fourth innings. Blackburn Kelly went 2 for 3 with a homer, a triple, and 3 RBIs. Kinsey Atwood added 2 hits, while Thea Smith had an RBI for the Lady Spartans. For the Lady Trojans, Adeline Simmons went a perfect 3 for 3 at the plate. Maroa Forsyth is 9-6 overall. St. Joe Ogden goes to 16-7. The Lady Trojans will host Olympia on Tuesday. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Shane here from Highway 51 Exchange, just south of Clinton. Let us service your lawn and garden equipment for spring with our quick turnaround and service specials for free pickup and delivery. Click our icon on DeWittDailyNews.com for details.
Longview Community Bank provides real local ag lending. Vice President and Loan Officer Nate Sams here, asking you to find out the many ag lending products we can offer your farm by clicking our ad on the local news page of DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. It's been a whirlwind